Good morning, everyone. And we are starting a little bit later for the weekly assignment this week. Stuart went a little long with Olivia Troy, but it was a great interview. So I hope you were able to catch that earlier. But I am Susan Demas, the executive editor here at Lincoln Square. Sam Osterhout is with me as always. He's the executive producer here. Hey, Sam.
Hey, how are you?
And I am good. So we're gonna go through a little bit before we get our really special guests on, Pretty Informed Girls, and they're gonna talk with us about the No Kings protest. But before then, Sam, why don't we chat a little bit about the headlines and what's coming up on Lincoln Square a little bit later? Were you able to go out to any of the protests, or was it dad duty all weekend?
It was both.
Okay.
I think dad duty means taking your kids to protests. I think
Nice.
that's how to do it. They were not super happy that we had to walk to the park, but it was great. Where I am, there was a great turnout, maybe 10,000 in a city of about 20,000.
Yep, you're in Kingston, so you're
Yeah.
like, what, hour and a half outside the city?
Yep, exactly. So it was great, really energetic. I found that this one didn't last as long. It wasn't like previous ones just went on all day. What was your experience?
Yeah, so I was talking with Jesse and Meg before we got on, and I was in Lansing, Michigan, our capital here. I had gone to the one over the summer here, and it was definitely longer, but the weather was so much nicer then. I was impressed. It was like high 30s, maybe it broke 40. It was not the nicest day out, but pretty good turnout. Thousands of people. There was a good march from the Capitol to our state Supreme Court, and I was there again with my daughter, who is the Meridian Township clerk, and she was bumping into her constituents, and that was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and definitely like not a ton of people like her age, like Gen Z out. I definitely saw a lot more at the other protests.
Mhm.
But I would expect that when we have more protests over the summer, that they're going to keep building, and you're going to see more young people out there. But it was a good time. Good posters. I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
saw that Trump. It was really interesting. So last week when we talked with Ezra Levin, the co-founder of Indivisible, one of the groups organizing these protests, he said it's been a clear tactic for the right-wing media and for the White House to try and ignore the protests this time. They don't want No Kings to get bigger. It did. It broke records. They're saying probably about 8 million people at 3,300 protests across the
Wow.
country and the world. But they were hoping by not giving it oxygen that not as many people would show up, and it was cold in a big part of the country. But that failed. And of course, Trump couldn't help but talk about it. The White House called them Trump derangement therapy sessions. And Trump went on when he was asked about it, and he was like, oh, they're all paid by George Soros. And clearly they were mad. And I couldn't help but think of the old drill tweet, because this is pretty much Trump's approach to No Kings. We saw the video that he released in October for the last one, where he was dropping poop on all the protesters,
Right.
playing, and he had the crown. He clearly does not like the fact that so many people hate what he's doing.
No, and I think it bugs him. He doesn't like to be unliked.
Mhm.
He likes to be feared. He likes to be taken seriously. And I think these signs are great. They're great trolling, and he hates it.
Yeah, that was probably the best. I mean, that took some effort. I talked with the woman who brought it, and she was like a mini celebrity at the protest, because I
Mhm.
mean, this was pretty good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Floofy Unicorn is still waiting for his check.
I
For all the
know.
protesting. I know, me too.
Those Soros bucks, they never seem to hit our account.
No, no. So I wonder. It occurred to me yesterday or Saturday that it had been a while since the last No Kings. Are we
Mhm.
going to kick this? Are we going to kick the frequency up? Like, what's, it feels like we need a more sustained and durable and frequent protest. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw that it looks like May Day may be the next date that they're looking at, and I think that that's great for the history,
Yeah,
obviously.
sure.
Uh, one thing we haven't heard as much about is should we be planning a general strike? And I can't help but think of how effective that was in Minneapolis. And I know you know because you have friends there because you went to grad school and lived there for a long time. And Minneapolis is somewhat of a unique place. Like we were talking about, like they were protesting in -20 weather. They don't care. They will go out and organize and help their neighbors. And there's a strong organizing tradition there. Paul Wellstone was such an inspirational figure, US Senator, and really came out of that activist movement. And there's such a strong labor presence there.
Yep.
But I mean, we can learn a lot from that. And if we could do that on a national scale, that would send such a message to the Trump administration.
I think so too, and I think protests without further action, I think can start to feel hollow.
Mhm.
And a No Kings protest is never the end; it's always the beginning, right? And what comes out of those protests really is what is the most important thing. So I agree. I think a general strike it's I don't know. Minneapolis really had no choice.
Right. Yeah,
And
and
maybe
they had
that's
to send a
what.
message to all the corporations there that were sitting on their hands that you can't stay silent. If you are not speaking out against this, then you are on the side of what ICE is doing, killing US citizens and brutalizing our community.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, why don't we go ahead and bring on Jesse and Meg? They are the two halves of Pretty Informed Girls. You may know them from TikTok and Instagram. They're also on Substack, so you can find them pretty much everywhere. And they were also at some of the protests over the weekend. So really looking forward to talking with both of them and hearing what they're doing in terms of reaching a younger audience on social media and other platforms.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. It's so great to have you both here. I know that we were chatting a little bit before we came on about how you started. You were both on TikTok and then you joined forces and you've built like a very, very impressive platform together and trying to reach people who, let's face it, really are not going to be tuning into the CBS Evening News, although it seems to be
No.
these days. That's not where a lot of people are getting their news now. So,
Yeah.
can you talk with us about your approach and how you are trying to reach people and inform them, and also you're also big activists as well.
Yeah, I think, for both of us, we both had interesting niches, which was nice because Jesse does a lot of satire and comedy. And for young people, I mean, we're both Gen Z, we're in the kind of zillennial era where we had Microsoft Paint and then, now we have
Okay.
AI. So we're in the weird era. But we our age, we need something to break up that content. There's just so much information coming at you at all times. I mean, we've been watching live stream news and just consumerism in a way that is so unfathomable. And so you have to give them something else. You have to make it seem approachable. And what the Democratic Party is such a problem with is messaging, especially messaging that sounds very elitist. And we cannot expect everyone online who are used to these TikTok clips of, 10-second videos is too much. We got to start scrolling. You need to grab their attention and you have to make it interesting or funny or in some way get them to pay attention to what's going on. So for us, it's breaking it up in a way that seems digestible. Some things are not. Oh, can anyone hear me? Sorry,
Yep.
I just
We
okay,
can hear
good.
you.
I'm sorry, I just read that. You know, it seems digestible, but it's hard. It's hard to be palatable and even see a future. Like I'm 27 and I genuinely don't know if I'm ever going to be able to buy a house. I don't know if I'll be able to, you know, be able to have children and feed them and have healthcare. Like, so it's really doom and gloom for us. And because we're not watching a nightly news channel, because we're not doing these things, how do we get people activated? And, you know, it's, we kind of grab them as fast as we can online and hope that that works. Jesse, a little more getting people engaged in a satirical way. I try to do the breaking news as much as I can so that at least when you're seeing both of our faces, you don't feel bogged down. We never want people to look at us and feel the sense of fear that like, oh my God, this person's about to say the most like horrible thing to me and I'm feeling overwhelmed already by seeing their face. And I think people have that sometimes with like news anchors. They're used to seeing them and they're like, this person's going to deliver something that's going to make me very upset. So we try to give them some sort of sense of normalcy in their approach to the news.
Yeah, I love that, and I think we're all like just riding high on cortisol and like stress and like bad
Yes.
vibes this whole time. And Jesse, you can hear us, Jesse? Oh, Jesse.
No, now she can't hear.
Oh, bummer. Okay. Well, I was I was gonna ask. We'll do some tech in the background and see if we can work it out. But I wanted to know when this started getting really, really popular and everyone responded to it. Were you surprised? Was that a surprising thing for you?
No, because so my background's in digital strategy.
Right.
And people are, and myself included, my friends included, like my friends are such good guinea pigs for this, right? Like I would go to have wine with people and I would start talking about politics, and some of them were like, I actually can't deal with this right now. And I
Yeah.
need to hear it in a way, or I need to talk about it in a way that doesn't feel like it's ruining my life in this moment. And as an activist, I always want to talk about things. That's like I'm constantly trying to get people involved. But I understand also that we're not going to meet, we have to meet people where they are. And you're not going to be meeting people. Not everyone wants to talk about everything all the time. Not everyone's, we do,
Right.
but not everyone does. So I think for us, it was like that giant waft. I think it was right after the Trump administration came in, really, and January, February, March, especially the big beautiful bill is when we like really started growing. People were just craving information that literally made sense to them. I had read the big beautiful bill, which I happened to be temporarily unemployed in that time period, so I could read it. And no one was reading that bill. It was 1,000 pages long. It's in legalese. Who understands what was happening in that? And people just wanted to know what it said. And I knew as a young person, what I feel that's missing is expertise on social media platforms that's accessible. Information is not accessible to people anymore. So I wasn't particularly surprised that when information became accessible to people, that they were craving it, because I crave that. My good friend Rachel Cohen is, you know, she's a lawyer, and like I rely on her content to understand law. I'm not going to law school. I need that information.
Yeah. You know, I've noticed that there's no shortage of like right-wing TikTok accounts out there uh, giving you the news, and really they're really targeting younger people, you know, Gen Z, millennials. And there's so much money out there to make sure that they, you know, can actually, you know, pay their rent and
Yep.
give this content. And it always feels like on the left, we're playing catch up because we don't have these billionaire sugar daddies to help us with our Instagram accounts or our media outlets. And so even though I know that there was such an influx of younger voters in the 2020 and 22 elections for Democrats. It seemed like that really did hurt the Democratic Party in 2024. And I'm wondering, where do things stand today as far as that digital war?
I definitely think it's something that the left has become aware of, obviously, and we're trying to make up the ground there. But I think somewhere we struggle, and this isn't exactly a secret, they are so good at making it sort of insidious, at making it like covert. And we, I feel, approach it because we don't want to trick anyone. We don't want it to be like, I'm manipulating you. But therefore, we sort of come about it in a, this is politics. This is what I'm trying to advocate to you. So I think that's an area we struggle. I don't really know. Meg, do you have any thoughts on how we're doing?
I mean, we're not doing well, that's for sure. I think we can all agree on that. There aren't sugar daddies for us, right? And that's a huge issue, and something we and all these, a lot of creators talk about is like, how can we get the left paid? Because there's the same, there's been articles that are coming out. It's like the same creators are getting offered tens of thousands of dollars from the right, and then are getting offered like $1,000 to make a video. And in the same breath, like, you don't want to have mouthpieces who are just like peddling information. But at the same time, like, information does need to be relayed to people. And there is no singular messaging point from the left. That's what the right is so good at. They have an idea and they just throw it out there and everyone runs with it. Where we try to like make this PC answer and try to get everything so perfect. And then we can't get it across to our people. And then we fight about it on every side of the left. So,
Right.
and to eat ourselves alive.
I know that we were talking about the No Kings protest earlier. Talk to us. I know, Meg, you were out in Times Square, and that sounded like it was a pretty incredible scene out there. Tell us a little bit about some of the folks you saw out there, what the energy was like, because just the footage looked insane.
Yeah, this was the most exciting No Kings I've been to. And as you know, I'm an activist first. That is how I view my content. And this is the first time I saw people activating in a really engaging way. I think there's been a lot of thoughts from the left on how No Kings works, or like, oh, it's just like liberal, like hullabaloo, it's not gonna work. But it will work. You have to go meet people out there and activate. Especially in New York, we have all these ice watches. We have so many organizations here. People are handing out zines. People are handing out stickers with QR codes on them that said, hey, here's the next step. And before, I feel like it was people walking around really kind of no direction, like handing out these 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. And I'm like, who the hell is taking that home? Like, no one's going to look at that later. So this felt really organized in a way where everyone was kind of seeking out what to do next. And a lot of that was that general strike that you guys had talked about earlier. Is it time for a general strike? And like, I do believe that's the next step. I don't think people were there last year when we started this. I do believe they're getting there now.
Yeah, it's, the general strike stuff is so hard, but again, like in Minneapolis, they just had no choice, and we still have a choice. There will be a time when we don't, right?
Exactly.
It's going to be hard. Tearing this down, this administration will be difficult, and rebuilding will also be difficult. We're going to have to sacrifice some level of convenience for that. What are you seeing in your own audience and all of that about attitudes towards general strike? Are people ready to be activated to take these next steps?
I mean, Jesse, you want to take it? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think a lot of people are. We sort of like, we notice everything that everyone says, and there definitely is an issue with convenience. People struggle to give up their convenience. But I think generally people are, even if it's incremental, getting ready.
Right.
Even at my No Kings, I went to a couple outside of Boston, just a couple smaller ones. And it's been interesting to see the signs change. I feel like at first it was just sort of taking the prompt very literally, no kings. Now you're seeing all different types of one. There will be some about ICE. There's some about voting. There's like billionaires, all this other stuff where people are really taking it to all these other issues, and like having a deeper understanding of it. So I think that it people are getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I was talking earlier about the Gen Z culture, and not just us, right? Like we've become so convenient with things, right? Like even Uber Eats, like everything is at our hands in a way, which we're not used to giving that up. And Sam, when you mentioned Minneapolis, Americans love convenience, and until it's forced upon us, people are not willing to give up that comfort. Like it's truly gonna take something big to get people to do that. And I think we're approaching that breaking point. I don't think we're at that breaking point, but I think we're nearing it.
Do you remember when we all canceled Uber because they were fascists or whatever?
Yeah, and then
But
we just forgot about it.
We just switched to Lyft. Like it was not there was no it wasn't any kind of sacrifice at all. It was just downloading a new app, and even that was difficult for some people.
Or like the Spotify stuff, it was playing ICE ads, and we had people saying like, I just don't really want to go through the effort of switching all my music over to another app.
Even Googling is hard for people. Like, I mean, literally, we have people in our comments that are like asking, I will give you step-by-step instructions on what's your next. And people come in the comments with questions. I'm like, guys, like with love, we've got to get it together. Like
Google it.
The world is depending on us, and people forget, like, the American empire is at the helm of the entire world. Countries are falling apart because of what we are doing. We gotta be a little inconvenienced, even a little bit.
I know, but one thing that I've heard a lot, both my kids are like in their early 20s, and they're like, but like all companies are like bowing to Trump. Are there any companies that we can actually support? It's so overwhelming. And to the point of convenience, I know that there is just so much hangover from COVID for young people.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that I think has been great about these No Kings protests is that people are getting out and actually talking with other people and getting to know people again, because there was so much isolation, especially for young people. But it is still hard. And I think that I'm wondering if there's just some hangover where it's like we were really inconvenienced and it was really traumatic and we lost a lot of people with COVID, and now we have to do more. Like, how much more is there? But that's what Trump is counting on, is for us to get exhausted and just to give up. And that's just something that I see, but you guys probably have a different perspective, from what you're seeing in your communities.
No, I mean, that is the perspective, I think, for a lot of people. It's even like I graduated college in 2020, right? So I had no other choice but to get a master's in 2021, because what else do you do? Like there was literally no job. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to school on the government's money again. But like these kids that were in high school, like they were in their house, in their homes, in their rooms, locked in there, online school, not meeting people. And by the way, middle school and high school suck on a good day, let alone being locked in your room with, if you had a good home life, which some people don't, school's an escape for people. You're lacking that culture, meeting other people, and that isolation. Like, I remember just my dad wanted to get me a coffee machine during COVID. And I was like, Dad, I have to go talk to the lady at the coffee shop because I'm going to go fucking crazy if I sit in this house any longer. I've got to get out of here. And I think people are starting to slowly crave that like necessity for human connection again, which I don't think everyone was ready for yet. And fascism depends on, catastrophic system failure and to be overwhelmed. And I think everyone was so debilitated the last year that they couldn't move, and now are starting to be able to like pick one leg up and at least start to inch towards something.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've noticed, even in my friend, I mean, look, I'm in political media, and when I go have drinks with my pals, I'm like, maybe we talk about sports. Like, I don't really follow it, but if we could, that would be nice. But everyone is now sharing the same memes, they're sending the same articles. Like there seems to be a better sync that is taking place. And another thing I've noticed, which I don't know if you guys have, I run into somebody in the store and they just very loudly start shitting on Trump. Like it is like everyone is like, can you believe? And it used to be, maybe this is just me. You would talk about it, but you kind of look around to make sure there's no MAGA. Like nobody cares anymore. We're so sick of it. And it feels like we're on the cusp of, I don't know, just standing up and like walking out and doing something. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I agree. And I've even like with my friends caught ourselves out at restaurants talking about maybe more fringe topics like in politics, and then we'll be like, maybe we should lower our voices, but like that would be something you wouldn't even think of in the past.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you have both been very supportive of Zoran Mamdani's campaign, and that was such a galvanizing moment, not just for people in New York, but just a lot of people who have hope for something new in politics and, you know, some new energy and some new ideas. We do have the midterms coming up. Right now, it is looking good for Democrats, but there are a lot of hard-fought primaries in our future. There are a lot of different ideas about what kind of approach we should take for November. I'm wondering from your perspective, what do you feel the Democrats have to do in order to really pull this out, not just in the House, but in the Senate?
You're like, super question, by the way.
Listen to people. I feel like there's just this disconnect where it's trying the same things over and over and over again, and it's people are telling you where to meet them, and that's not moving away from their demands or trying to concede to other demands.
Everyone's pretty loud about exactly where they want to be, and it seems that every person running for office or in office doesn't hear that. And whether that is a donor issue or whatever, that they can't make those decisions clearly. But when you run, like Zoran, I was just at the Bernie tax rich rally yesterday, right? And he was talking about how literally New York, I mean, this reverberated around the world because we showed that money was not going to affect us. Zoran, like 90,000 people were knocking on doors for Zoran. It matters. And I think there just wasn't hope like that. I mean, people like I was far too young, but people liken it to the Obama era of having this like sense of hope. And we didn't have that at all. And now people who would never have even thought to run for Congress or thought to run for local office elected, at all, are running. And they're running on actual values. And as a strategist, something I always am like, you gotta tell people what you're going to do for them, not just what you're going to do against Trump, because we got it. We have some fighters in Congress. Like we have people who are pretty just like staunch Democrats who are good against Trump, but what are they doing for us generally? Like, are they doing more? Are they getting us healthcare? Are they doing something to progress the country? Or are they just a vessel to stop Trump? And a lot of these candidates are coming forward with like real tangible plans. And I hope to God that people actually start leaning into them. But like we still have these major PACs and organizations just funneling money. Like Uber was so involved in our God, Uber is the topic of the day. They were funneling so much money into the New York election. Like, get out. What are you doing here? They were trying to get Zoran out. So I mean, just listen to people.
Well, Jesse and Meg, thank you for taking time to be with us. And thanks for your patience with our late start.
Yeah.
I hope we can talk with you again soon because it's just been really great to hear about what you're doing to reach people where they're at, which is so important. So thank you for being here.
Yeah,
for having us.
I'm really kind of fanboying right now. So thank you for all the work you do. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and tell us real quick, what's the best way for people to find you?
On Instagram, Pretty Informed Girls, and then we are expanding our Substack. So our Substack, same thing, Pretty Informed Girls. You'll be getting more writing from us soon because I'm getting angrier. So
Okay.
gotta sorry about it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
guys so much.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure.
Good afternoon.
Thanks. Oh, that was fun.
They're great.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have a really good week coming up on Lincoln Square. That was a great interview with Stuart and Olivia Troy. We'll probably be replaying that one too for all of you if it was a little early for you on a Monday.
For
But
sure.
we also have coming up on Tuesday or today, actually, we have another On the Ground with Joe Trippi, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Today he is speaking with, this is actually the last installment of the Iowa episodes. And I gotta say, if y'all haven't watched them yet, you should go back and watch. He's done 2 journalists and 3 candidates, and the candidates are really remarkable. Like it gives you, it's that like Meg and Jesse were saying, like, listen, you got to go out and listen. You got to listen to the people. These candidates in Iowa really are. They're just, their messaging is great. They are on the ground. They are, I don't know. They just seem like the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great place to start. Obviously, a lot of times for the presidential cycle, things start in Iowa.
Yep.
But this year, I mean, if we see some really big flips in Iowa, I think we will know that it will be a good night for Democrats across the country, because that is a state that has turned pretty hard red in the Trump era. So, and Joe has worked there for decades, so he knows everybody. And I thought it was fun when we talked with him last week, and he said, yeah, people want me to come back. More people want me to talk to them in Iowa, but there are other states that we got to cover as well. So stay tuned. We'll let you know what's going to be up ahead for On the Ground. But tomorrow, I know you'll be on with Bobby Jones on Anchor Watch, and with everything going on in Iran, and I know we didn't get to that today, but it'll be good to hear from him, because apparently now we might be sending ground troops to get uranium. That's the new end goal here. A lot going on.
It's the Back to the Future version of the Iran war. You got to get the uranium. And here's the thing, like, I follow this, this news very closely. I'm still confused about what's actually happening. And Bobby he's the most clarifying voice, I think, on this, particularly on our platform, but just about anywhere. His morning briefings are kind of essential. And when I'm on with him, I'm just the big dummy in the room, but I kind of feel like I'm the everyman, like
right.
We're all kind of the big dummies in the room compared to Bobby Jones.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, he's a retired Navy commander. He served in the Middle East for years, commanding troops with Operation Enduring Freedom. So who better to talk with? When that base in Bahrain got bombed, he's like, oh, right. I've been there. Let me tell you all about why this is so particularly bad. And that's just the kind of inside knowledge that we need, because we're certainly not getting good information from the White House.
No, we definitely aren't.
And Frank Figluzzi, his show is the Frank Figluzzi Show. He's a retired assistant director at the FBI. And he's our go-to person about national security, about big crime cases. Last week's episode, if you didn't see it, with Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, was just news that you're not going to see in other places, talking about the ties between Epstein and Trump and Russia in great detail. Fabulous episode. We reran it over the weekend. You can always find all of our episodes on Substack or on YouTube. But he will have on law professor Kim Whaley. And so that will be great. That's on Wednesday at 2.
He is so good. his interview style is, I don't know, he's just like the sort of quintessential FBI agent. Just by the books, goes down the line. His questions are always really surprising to me. His context and his worldview is so needed in this moment. I love those shows.
Yeah. And then Edwin Eisendrath on It's the Democracy Stupid on Friday will be on with author and journalist Andrea Pitzer. And she really is a clarion voice, especially on these ICE detention centers, because she has written so much about concentration camps and the techniques of fascist regimes. And she is really someone that is perfect to talk to in this horrible moment that we're in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great lineup this week, and I hope y'all are able to get out if it's going to be springy in your neighborhood. Go touch some grass, man. Our shows will be here for you whenever you need them.
Yes, you can catch them on the replay, on Substack, on YouTube. But if you live in the cold like Sam and I do, and things are starting to turn green, take advantage for sure.
Yeah, gotta have hope, and you gotta find it wherever you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our weekly assignment for this week is very appropriate. We make it very easy for you if, like us, you would really like to see this guy gone. You would like to see the House impeach him. If you just go to that QR code, it will take you to contact your member of Congress and send them that message. I think that sometimes, Sam, we're like, well, he's been impeached before and he's still here. But you know what? He has done so much stuff that any other president wouldn't be impeached for this term. And so I think it's really important to let your members of Congress know, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, that this is not acceptable. His war of choice, his ICE agency killing U.S. citizens and terrorizing our communities, building a ballroom that has destroyed the White House and is just a monument to him and his excess and his corruption. None of this is acceptable. This is not what a president should be. So, in the words of a Michigan congresswoman here, let's impeach the motherfucker.
Yeah, I love it. And also to anyone who says like, well, look, it's not going to happen. It's an impossible dream. Yeah, but that's the thinking that that allows Democrats to not run in seats, right? Even because they think, well, we'll probably lose anyway. You have to show up and you have to do all of the things.
Right.
It doesn't, like, if the goal is to lodge your complaint and say, this is what we want, then you will succeed. You will succeed today. That will be a success today for you to do that. So do it.
And it puts pressure on Democrats who obviously desperately want to get in control of the House, of the Senate.
Yeah.
But it lays the marker down about what we expect for them if they do get the majority. I believe Edwin was the one who was saying to me a few weeks ago, we want them to impeach Trump before noon if they get the gavels back.
Yeah.
And let's lay down that marker. We all showed up for no kings. We really mean it. No kings.
Yeah, exactly right. And like, look, if Trump's the problem, then he's got to go. It's just got to go.
Absolutely. And think about it. I mean, he's been so upset by all of these no kings protests. Imagine how irked he's going to be if he gets impeached for a third time. That'll be fun in and of itself to watch.
True.
And then it's up to the Senate to not fail like it did twice before and to come through and really represent the American people. Because if you look at the polling, nobody likes what this guy is doing. Let's send a message.
All of this could have been stopped.
Yes, but it's not too late. We've seen Trump. He has tried to threaten our most basic rights, our basic First Amendment rights. And all of us said, we don't care. We're showing up in the middle of the cold for the last No Kings protest. And hopefully the ones over the summer will be even bigger, and we'll hit that 3% threshold that we've talked about. Just 12 million people in this country. That's the kind of message that gets sent and that topples regimes. So let's build towards that. And please continue to send us in your videos and your photos. We have already run them. We're going to run more. And I just want to give a special shout out to those of you who have sent in your protest pictures, even if it was like just 20 or 30 or 100 of you in your small red town. To me, that's the most inspiring. I mean, I love seeing the huge protests in Chicago and New York City and LA, but it takes so much courage to stand up there when your neighbors all voted for Trump. And we're seeing that across the country. So keep sending them in. Tag us on social media at Lincoln Square. We love to see them.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining us. And thanks, Sam. Always great to be with you on Monday morning.
Good. Thanks. See you next time.